it's only for a couple hours every day, but sometimes I don't know how I'm gonna keep this up. I know I have to, for my family.
But the books are really bad.
Lately, yeah, the books have been really awful. They weren't messing around when they called it Curse of the Spawn.
But you know it won't go on forever.
Then it'll just be something else. I feel like I'm starting to lose my edge a little as a reviewer. And I feel like I was starting to get my mojo back a little bit in the game room when I was watching all those great movies. Man, what I wouldn't give right now for a copy of Rocky or Fight Club or Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
One of these things is not like the others.
Well, right now my brain is duller than a popsicle stick. I'm worried when I finally get home that I'm not going to be the same person I was. That this whole experience has changed me.
Seems like a fair trade to me. A little post-traumatic stress disorder in exchange for not getting buried alive for eternity.
Sure, when you put it like that.
You're nearly halfway there already. My advice is to do what I do.
Kill a bunch of people for no good reason, kidnap little girls, and then make voodoo dolls of people I don't like?
Bide your time.
Oh, that's what you've been doing.
Just keep doing what you're doing, and keep your eyes peeled. Don't try to force your way out of here like you have been doing. Your boss is just like my boss.
Arrogant and long-winded?
Patient. They like to take their time. You've got to do the same.
I really didn't expect meaningful advice from a bendable plastic sculpture of a monster that likes to make fart jokes.
I get that a lot. Glad I could help.
I am Doomsvince, and this is day 155 of Spawn Year.
As Curse of the Spawn finally draws toward a close, McElroy and Turner finally introduce an intriguing element into Spawn's world I'd really enjoy seeing explored further, and in the main book. Considering these stories have worked so hard to avoid any plotting that might interfere with McFarlane's plans, I'm astounded he allowed them to create a brother for Al Simmons. Mark Simmons is a successful, high-profile psychiatrist whose primary interest is in rehabilitating serial killers and other delusional criminals. We witness Mark try to talk down a serial killer called the Unknown Soldier, and he succeeds at saving a hostage, but the killer dies by way of grenade in the process. Mark is a grade-A perfectionist. He's his own harshest critic. Any patient he can't get through to, Mark sees as a failure, and he's allowed his guilt to overtake him, illustrated by the hallucination of another old patient he couldn't save, who taunts him about all the things he blames himself for. He is clearly not the most stable mind himself right now, which is perhaps understandable given all the nightmare scenarios he's put himself in. I appreciate that scene with the Unknown Soldier as it illustrates the sort of unreasonable pressure Mark is under, and it's presented like a routine event in a stressful life. His goals are laudable and his career extreme, so it's believable he might buckle under the pressure, but I'm not unsympathetic toward him when he does. Mark's greatest flaw is a classic messiah complex. He blames himself for events he can't control, including the death of his brother Al. The hallucination tells him Al might still be alive if he hadn't always been in such stiff competition with his brother. I wonder what went on between them, and would like to see that expounded upon. Did Al and Mark try to outshine each other in their respective fields, each trying to rise to the very top in the military or in psychiatric medicine? Once again, McElroy proves he can create compelling characters and put them in interesting situations when he applies himself. A comparison-contrast study of the two men's opposing philosophies on how to deal with killers might be a worthwhile endeavor. One became a blind killer himself as he devoted himself to the American ideal and following the orders of his commanders, and he ultimately lost himself in corruption, while the other lost himself to grief, unable to cope with his own limitations and accept that some people can't be saved, and maybe that sometimes letting those people die is the lesser of two evils. I like that McElroy gives us that precise juxtaposition when Sam looks at a floor full of psychos in an asylum and he echoes Al's sentiment. Drop a couple grenades down there, problem solved. I wonder what Mark would have to say if he met his brother now as Spawn. There are fascinating possibilities there. I doubt they'll ever be explored, but it's a credit to this story that it has my imagination running off with itself. The rest of the issue sets the foundation for this story's climax. Sam and Twitch are investigating another serial killer case, a guy called the Crocodile, who butchers women he thinks need their souls cleansed by God. They're trying to help an ex-convict who fills the profile, but whose psychiatrist, different guy, swears didn't do it, and this would all be more compelling if we weren't introduced to the real killer at the outset. I do like the paralleling threads of two psychiatrists who genuinely care about helping their mentally ill patients lead productive lives again. It's uncharacteristically thoughtful of McElroy to remind us that these killers are real people, and he's back to handling these dark themes with the sort of care he used in the Suture story. Though I really wish he'd recognize that there are other heinous crimes to explore outside of violence against women. Maybe the meaningless violence last issue left a bad taste in my mouth, but I'm sick of seeing all these ladies get eviscerated. Having said that, I'm going to make a prediction here, as all of this feels really familiar to me. I think with the female victims, the gimmicky killers, and the return of Sam and Twitch, that Suture will soon make another entrance. I wonder if Violator is up for making a wager with me on it. Signed, Captain Logan.